Today's topic, Christian humanism. Secular humanism is a religion that has in effect made the human self its God. The stated goal of this religion is not to reject religion, but to replace the traditional creeds with new ones, religious humanism. The new manifesto dropped all pretense of religion. All the old hallmarks of the old humanism was there, a naive faith in science, a rejection of God, the enshrinement of self-actualization as the goal of life, the assertion that ethics is autonomous and situational. Humanism proclaims its own set of self-serving, unproved dogmas as a replacement for the tenets of traditional religion. It asserts that the universe is self-existent and not created. It says that man is a product of evolution, and that the joy of living and the satisfaction of life are the supreme goals of man. It is asserted in the Humanist Manifesto too, that, number one, believing in a God who cares for people, hears, understands their prayers, and can help them is an unproved, outmoded faith. Number two, trusting God for personal salvation and immortality is an illusion which diverts people from self-actualization and the modification of social injustices. And three, reasonable minds look to other means for survival. Self-actualization, the stated goal of humanism, is nothing more than the rewording of Satan's remark to Eve, "You shall be as gods." Self-exaltation is a road to spiritual and moral ruin. All man has to do to go to hell is for every man to do what's right in his own eyes. Secular humanism has led America to the brink of total destruction, advocating total freedom for self and preaching that there's nothing wrong but guilt. This destructive philosophy has turned our nation into hell. If it feels good, do it, has become the slogan of this perverted thinking. So men murder each other for kicks. One matter upon which the Bible is unmistakably clear throughout is that of man's deception. All God's methods with man have had this fact behind them. With and ever since the fall, the race is regarded as being a deceived race. Not only was the race initially deceived in Adam, but it has ever led on in its deception to deeper depths. Rather than escape from this deception by what is called enlightenment, the advanced nations are using all of this enlightenment to produce weapons to destroy each other. Humanism is only the modern name for Satan's greatest tool for deception. To destroy any civilization, Satan need only appeal to the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. Turn the interest to self, and the world becomes a jungle. Secular humanism, with its appeal to selfishness and greed, set the stage for the world's worst tragedy, Christian humanism. Already fired with a desire for self-actualization, it was easy to sell such a man a theology that would use God to gain its own selfish end. The message is no longer Christ and Him crucified, but self and Him exalted. The work of God has become a sphere for many natural elements to find expression and gratification. Ambition, acquisition, achievements, etc. have found their way over to Christian enterprise. Now, the selling point of this humanistic Christianity is greed. The appeal is not love to God, but rather to use God. You were created for super living, is the religious medicine man's appeal. Super living, meaning to enjoy the luxuries of life, satisfying the human ego. Give $100 to this ministry, says the evangelist, and God will give you back 100-fold. The people who respond to such an appeal are moved by the same greed that moves men to feed the slot machines in Vegas. The mere confession theology has relegated Jesus Christ to the position of a motivator, while the real driving force all along is self. Think positively, confess right, and God is obligated to do what you say. Obligating God to man is a clever trick. He is no longer sovereign. He must now move when man speaks. The great God and Savior has in the new theology become the tool for man's personal achievement. With self on the throne and the chief end of religion being self-actualization, it is not surprising to see the hard selling of miracles to the poor, the ill, the desperate, with much of the money being used to support a lifestyle that would embarrass kings. Also to witness the equating of New Testament Christianity with the worship of success makes those who are not successful believe that God does not care for them. None of this could have happened without first removing the cross from the central place in Christianity. The cross is the only safeguard against self intruding into spiritual things. Thus, the humanistic Christianity has systematically set about to remove the cross from its teachings. To take up a cross and deny self is not a part of the creed. No, say the new evangelists, you were created for super living. One of the main speakers assured his audience that they did not have to cling to any old rugged cross. When the cross is removed, you have no God, only religion. This is a tragedy, one of the worst of our time. To remove that cross is to produce a tragedy and a religion without God. Thus you have the awful system that I have wrote about of Christian humanism. You can recognize the difference between Baalism and true religion. Baalism will always attempt to use God, but the God of this Bible is a God who will use man. We must be aware in these end times. We must be open to truth. We must be willing to search the Scriptures to see whether or not it be so. No matter how big the celebrity, how big the ministry, that's no guarantee against deception. We must, under God, test every spirit by the word of the Lord.